So welcome to Ask Amy. I am so excited to be here with the beautiful Brittany, and we've got a wonderful conversation today that we're going to share with you all about corporate and finance. And so I'm going to get Brittany to introduce herself to you, and then I'll introduce myself, and we'll get going with a couple of questions, and we'll summarize, and we'll probably be maybe 10 minutes or so. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Amy. My name is Brittany Flavel, and my business is called J. Galt Finance Suite, and I am essentially a business credit expert, and I build business credit for clients on their EIN, completely separate from their social and their personal credit.
So valuable, and a lot of things that I wish that I had learned and other women had learned at the very start of their career and not at the later stages. So thank you for sharing this space with me.
Yes, thank you.
My name is Amy Jones, and I'm a life and business mentor. I have 20 years corporate business experience. I'm also a human design reflector, which is really fun because I can kind of tap in and feel what's happening when other people can't see that. So it's going to be a really cool conversation that we have here. Brittany's got a couple of questions to share specifically around her industry to help serve the women that you connect with. So my dear, the stage is yours.
Awesome. So we had this beautiful conversation that was kind of like out of the wild, not perfectly planned, and turned into something amazing. Like I think it was like 3 or so weeks ago. And it really brought up something for me because working in my industry and working with female entrepreneurs, which is why I actually entered into my own business, I've come across this discovery. So I really want to know, Amy, from your perspective, working with female entrepreneurs, working with female and masculine energies, balancing energies, bringing harmony, and all that kind of space. What do you find that causes female entrepreneurs to be so averse to scaling and growing and being like as big and magnificent as they could possibly be?
Yeah, it's crazy because my life purpose and soul mission literally is to bring harmony to relationships. It starts with the relationship with myself and then everything that I touch. And literally everything in this universe is a relationship, whether it's spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, financial, career, the relationship that you have with yourself and others. Even going for walks and interacting with nature, picking up a phone call and having a sales call, every single thing you do is a relationship. And when the relationship that you have with yourself first is out of balance, out of harmony, everything is like a domino effect. And the word wealth, which I think is so beautiful because the more harmony that you have, the more wealth you receive in all areas of your life, comes from the Latin word worth. And when you don't have self-worth, how could you possibly have wealth in all areas of your life? And so really, it starts from connecting into your worth, bringing more wealth to your life, and that comes from harmony. And the more harmony and the more balance you have, the more worth you have and the more wealth you have.
Okay, awesome. So digging deeper into that, you had mentioned in a prior conversation we had that you found that women were being led externally by their worth. Why do you think that is? Why are they being led externally by worth, and what is the relationship there?
So I've worked for corporate for 20 odd years. I've always worked for another CEO. I've always, like your parents tell you to go to school, get a job, do what you're told. Society, social media tells you to do this and that. We don't realize it, but we are being led externally. And when I realized that I'm actually the CEO of myself, and then I can interact with other external CEOs in harmony, that's when the magic happens. But living unconsciously, only really up until a few years ago when I went through a massive spiritual awakening, did I realize I was giving my worth away. Every single thing in my life was leading me externally, and I wasn't leading myself. And so I did a lot of work. I worked on a lot of codependencies, brought in healthy boundaries, healthy attachments, brought in a deep self-care practice. And I really released a lot of the layers of the programming, external guidance that I didn't realize I was living, and brought it into leading and living in my truth, my authentic truth, brought in respect and love and pleasure to my world, which then allowed me interact in a different perspective with my external world. I can still externally, I can still interact with my external world, but it's in harmony. And when you're out of harmony, whether it's one click or many clicks away, you're not happy. You're stressed, you're anxious, you're frustrated, you're exhausted. You do not want to be doing what you're doing. You're yelling, you're screaming, you're calling 100 people a day trying to get the sales because an external CEO told you that's what you do, as opposed to, wait a minute, what do I want to do? I want to enjoy this. I want to have pleasure in what I do. I want to have deep, intimate conversations with women. And full disclosure, when I was in corporate, it was like a trick. How many sales could I make to pay the bills, to put food on my table, and to put a roof over my head? I didn't care. I mean, I really genuinely cared about people, but at a deep unconscious level, it was, what are you going to do for me? How are you going to pay my bills? Didn't realize that. And that was like pretty humbling when I realized that. I went, oh shit. Okay. And then you expand and you have more deeper connections with women. And then you realize, oh my God, there's so many layers to this. And what was so beautiful that got presented to me last week, because we were supposed to have this conversation last week and lots of stuff was happening in my world. And I believe everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
Beautiful gift presented to me, which was another layer of my healing. And I had the words prostitute wound come into my reality. And I was like, what? Like, what is this? And I realized, so bear with me, I realized that, you know, if you're in this position, you are selling yourself out. You're doing tricks to pay the bills, to put food on your table, to put a roof over your head, to wear your clothes, to drive your car based on what somebody externally wants, not what you want. And so you could either do 10 tricks a day, let's just keep the number super easy, $100 a trick, you get $1,000 a day, you get your $1,000 a day. You go home, you pay your bills, but then you've depleted. You got to go back and do the same thing the very next day because somebody else is telling you that's what you have to do. And you don't know any better. And you don't know how to hold on to your money because you're afraid you've got wounding that you can't hold on to it. So you're stuck in this loop. I got to keep doing the same thing. I got to make those 10 phone calls. I got to get that money. And then you're exhausted because you're being led by what somebody else wants you to do. When you start to bring more harmony and balance into all areas of your life, you create a new foundation and you go, wait a minute, I want to lead myself. I want to have pleasure in what I do. I don't mind doing this, but I don't want to do it till I'm exhausted. I want to do one, and I want to soak up all the driplets of honey and pleasure and luxurious moments of every little conversation and every little thing I'm doing, and stretch and just linger in that moment and just fill up my bucket. Because when my bucket's filled, you actually get pleasure as well, because we're both in the moment. And so I don't have to do 10 tricks a day. I get to do one for the same amount. It doesn't take me as long. And I fill up my bucket and I enjoy what I do because it's based on my worth and my value and my truth and my desires. And then I match you harmoniously based on what you want. And this is where this new world is that we're going and that we're building. We're all equally valuable. I am not any less valuable than you, and you're not any less valuable than me. And so when you tell me externally what to do, you're devaluing me, and I'm also devaluing myself. And so when we meet together in equal partnership, in equal harmony, in equal value, in equal vulnerability, we're birthing this new world because it's new and we're like navigating this new world. And so we're currently releasing a lot of this right now. And what's birthing from within is true, authentic, genuine, heart-filled pleasure. We are being led by our internal truth and meeting you with your internal truth. And then there's no resistance. There's no exhaustion. There's no attachments. There's no dependencies. It's all a healthy, harmonious relationship. And we are all rich and we are all wealthy. And there is more than enough to go around because I am uniquely as valuable as you. And there's nobody like me on this planet, just like there's nobody like you on this planet. And then we rise together and we build this beautiful new world together in harmony, in equal partnership and union. And this might be pretty deep for where we're going, but this feels so like this is in my core. Like this is like, I wish somebody had told me this when I was a kid about trusting myself and listening and leading myself and having the value to serve my wisdom, my medicine, my magic, and then you as well. And then we build this beautiful experience together. So how connected back to your clientele is when you're being externally led by somebody else and you go back to all of those areas of your life where you feel worthy and wealthy. If you don't feel worthy financially, you're not going to feel the desire to build that wealth financially. You're going to do as you're told, but it's not going to be here.
Right. So then
foundation
right
anchors you in, and you want to just keep building it because it's connected to your why and your worth and the love that you have for yourself. That's the difference between feminine and masculine.
So it's almost like so many of these female entrepreneurs are coming out of that corporate space or that 9-to-5 space, and they're still carrying with them the energy of
hustle.
Yeah. And I'm like, my value is based on someone else's opinion or someone else telling me what to do. So they're having difficulty tapping in to their internal worth that really isn't led by anyone other than, themselves or their spiritual side or.
Yeah. And that's the difference between masculine and feminine, because masculine is action. And when you are in an unhealthy out of balance, we're naturally more feminine, but we have both masculine and feminine. Feminine is intuition. It's following the nudges, and then your masculine actions it. But if your intuition's turned off or you don't trust it, you're getting your guidance from somebody else based on their worth and their dreams and their desires. It's going to be a disconnect. So you're not going to be aligned. You're not going to have fun. You're going to be in an out of balanced energy. And you could be making $1 million a year. You could be making $20,000 a year, but it's all connected to the energy that you're putting through. And I guarantee when you bring more harmony and balance into your energy, you don't have to work as hard and you make more, because it's like every single part of your life bucket gets filled up.
Right.
And, like if you've got, I don't know, I think I read today something like there's 27,000 days that we live in our lifetime. And if you've only got 5 years left to live, you've only got about 2,000 days left to live. How are you going to spend your time? Based on somebody else's worth or based on your worth?
Right.
It really is getting rid of the noise and creating space to connect in and listen to your inner guidance, and then actioning your inner guidance and trusting, deeply, deeply, deeply trusting that is right for you. And it's literally one step at a time.
Sure. So I started my business because I was really passionate about guiding and educating female entrepreneurs, because I wanted to see them, not just own that business, but own the city. I wanted to see them just their biggest dreams come to reality. And I knew that my business, building business credit, could help them accomplish that. So for our viewers today, how could they work with you to develop that proper sense of worth that would come from them internally, to really help them kind of change their mindset, or to escape that fear of scaling and growing and being their best, amazing, biggest version of themselves that they can be?
It really starts with bringing harmony to all the areas of your life. And then rebuilding your foundation solid from the ground up based on you. And then once you've got a solid foundation, it's kind of like you're climbing Mount Everest. You get to base camp 1, you anchor it in. You get to base camp 2, you anchor it in. But if you want to go to the top right away, you're not going to have all the equipment, you're not going to have the crew, you're not going to make it. So it's anchoring at each level. And so the very first place you start is you anchor yourself, you bring harmony to your world. And then when you're building your empire, you then bring harmony and anchoring to your empire. You make sure you've got all the processes in place. You've got all the resources in place. You outsource what you need. You do not multitask. You focus on what your why is, and you just fiercely trust that I am putting the processes and the actions in place to make sure I've got enough space to stay balanced in my feminine leadership. And then I direct my masculine to do XYZ as I build my business. This is like the building of a fempire, which is a word for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it really starts with you. And the really amazing bonus of this is when you change, everything around you changes. So your relationship with your husband will improve, your partner, your relationship with your children, your family, your friends, your community. Literally every single thing changes when you change. And it's amazing. And then you just bring more pleasure to all areas of your life.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I for one, that sounds amazing. So that was amazing. Thank you so much. I think we're just out of time here.
Thank you. Please,
Yes.
how people can connect into your world.
Yeah. So I actually have a public, business credit for female entrepreneurs Facebook group. I give all kinds of advice and helpful hints and tidbits. And then otherwise I have a website, that's via my Facebook group. And then I have, my phone number, my email, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome. And then I'll just drop my information at the bottom. Again, my name is
Awesome.
Jones. My business is called Live with Intent. And I'm all over different various parts of social media. So I'll just drop my information at the bottom. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask. And as well, Brittany, she's a wonderful resource. And if you have any questions to connect in with Brittany, we'll make sure to put contact information at the bottom as well. And this has been really lovely. Thank you for your time.
Yes, thank you
for this very backwards way that we connected. And I really hope that this you and your community, and that this is just adding richness to your life and all those that you connect with. So thank you very much.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Amy. Okay.